Good morning, it's Ginny, Tim, and Eli from DS Tech in the beautiful Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have news for you.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the 23andMe breach that just happened and, inform you about that and help you keep safe. At the end of the video, well, anytime during the video, I guess, but after you listen to us, go to our website at dstech.net and sign up for our newsletter and for a free security assessment. So I think we have downloads on there too, but anyway, go over there and check it out.
It's good stuff.
It is. We have lots of news on there too.
And tips to help you keep safe and secure.
Yes, I'm always adding stuff. So yeah, there's lots of stuff on there. So 23andMe, first of all, that's the DNA.
It's one of those there's a bunch of the different ancestry websites where you could submit a sample of your saliva or whatever it is, and then they give you your whole family tree and all that kind of stuff. So this is just one of those sites. It was the one called 23andMe. So just a little bit of, there's lots of stuff floating out there now. It's a relatively new thing. So there's a lot of people claiming certain things, and then it might not be as bad as they claim, but now there was a recent update which kind of leans into that it might possibly actually have some data leaked out there. So we're just going to kind of talk about it, how the dark web and people trade passwords and all that information, just to kind of make you aware of that, and then what you can do to secure yourself to prevent this from happening to you and mitigate your account as well. So kind of a timeline of events. What happened was on October 3rd, it was posted on, they call it Breached Forum. It's just a dark website where the people post all these different hacks and leaks and things like that. And that linked to another forum called the Hydra Market, where someone basically said that they had all these leaks going back to August. They claimed they had 300 terabytes of data, which is just an astronomical amount of data for a database, claiming they had all this stuff. They claimed what that user had said is they had reached out to 23andMe and they told them about some vulnerabilities. And again, this is what they were claiming happened. Again, this is just from the hacker, so trust it for as little as you probably want to. But they claim they reached out to 23andMe and informed them that, hey, we noticed that you have an open gate right to your database right here. Basically, they found a vulnerability and they're trying to get money out of them as kind of like a bug bounty. Because what'll happen is if you go to Google or Amazon and you find like a bug in their network, they will pay you money for disclosing to them how they're vulnerable so they can fix it, and you're not actually exploiting it. So it's like you're trying to break into someone's house, and then rather than actually steal stuff, you just tell them where their weak parts are, and then they'll pay you for that service, kind of, in a sense.
Bug bounty.
Bug bounty is what that is. If you haven't
Interesting.
heard of that. So the hacker claims he tried to do the bug bounty.
Penetration test. Almost.
Yeah. And so they claim that they did that, and then they were kind of just shooed off or not really taken seriously, and then they claimed that at that point that's where they then exfiltrated the data from them and they started trying to sell it on the dark web. Just to give you some ideas, because a lot of times you hear about credentials being traded for money and all that kind of stuff. This, because it's such a large database of 300 terabytes, they're trying to sell it for $50 million for one bulk dump. So if you wanted to have every single user data, you can give them $50 million. Now, is that data real? A lot of data that gets traded isn't even real. It's fake. Like a criminal will say they have a database and it's full of just fake information that they created and then try to sell it as real data, and they're just scamming each other because they're all criminals anyway.
No,
right?
For the data that they're saying they made off with, this is 23andMe. What kind of personally identifiable information are we talking? Passwords, usernames, or are we talking
passwords, usernames,
blood type?
Some of them, yep.
DNA.
Yep, that's what they're claiming. Is some of them will have like the ancestry, because how it worked is. I'll go into the actual official thing from a 23andMe statement as well that we have. But basically, there is a certain feature within this when you sign up and you submit to their database that allows you to automatically take your data and then go into their family tree, and it creates like a family tree of all known existing users, which that is technically opt-in. You're not forced to do that, but let's be honest, chances are you're doing this to create family trees, so you're going to sign up for that.
So, yeah, you do,
and so
naturally.
those people are the ones that are kind of breached in that database, because what happens is if someone gets in and they were taking some slight information from the other, say your Aunt Helen gets hacked or whatever it is, and they get into her 23andMe database, they're able to take not only her real information, but then a little bit of everyone that's connected to them in the family. It'll have like their address, their name, and maybe a phone. I don't know. I haven't actually looked to see, but it's very little.
And Helen's always doing stuff like that.
But yeah, so that's just where it is because of the way the data is shared within the database, they were able to kind of scrape a lot of this data from having other user accounts. And that's kind of how they said is that it was kind of credential stuffing, where if you sign up for, say, your Gmail or your Steam or your Xbox or whatever service you're using, a lot of humans are lazy and they're bad at the internet. So they like to reuse the same password over and over again, or maybe add a 1 at the end of it or 2. And what happens is if a hacker gets one of your passwords from a known leak somewhere else, they're going to try that everywhere else just to see if you reused the password. And that's what happened in this case, is that someone, got into this because that person had used the same password and credentials on another former hack, and they kind of got in through that way. They call it credential stuffing, is the actual term for that. So the kind of a thing, my take on it is 23andMe did have kind of like improper security in a sense that they weren't forcing their users to do multi-factor authentication, because that would have stopped this credential stuffing, where if someone does have your username and password, they try to sign in as you, you're going to get a little text message that say, hey, did you try to log into 23andMe? And if you're not at your computer, you're like, that wasn't me. They can't get in beyond that then. So it would be like they have the key, but they don't have the deadbolt key. They can't get all the way in. They just have one form of that layer. And so,
Gee, I don't know if any of them force
most
MFA.
places don't force MFA, so it is hard to like put it on them.
Because I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't remember.
Most of those places don't. They'll always encourage you. It's optional. Even like if you set up a Gmail account, they don't force you anymore. So it's optional to set up, and every time you log in, they'll kind of remind you, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do this. But it's never forced upon users. I'm to the point, the way I security, and I believe it. Everyone should just force people to do it, because it's annoying. You may not get as many people to sign up, but you're protecting those users better. And so, I as an end user would be happy that a company's forcing me to go through these hoops if it's something that reminding dealing with your data.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
I'd rather have them deal with that than be insecure for my convenience. Anyway. So that's kind of what it was, is one account will link to another account's families because of the way the ancestry was. So they're able to scrape more data. So they were able to try other users' data, then get other people's emails. And they just kind of supposedly did this for a while and accumulated all the data that they have. However, again, with that being said, some of the data people were looking at did seem like it was fake. And some of these, not all the data that's floating out there is real, because when people were looking at this, some that had famous celebrities, they noticed that some of the famous celebrities had the same user ID, which it wouldn't make sense why like 2 famous celebrities would have the same sign-in token. I'm not going to name names or anything, but it's like they're no way related in any way, shape, or form, but they somehow share the same account. It didn't make sense. So it looked like it was a fake database people were creating to try to spread and sell online. So not all this data may be gone. So when I originally saw the story, I was like, these are probably just hackers saying they have the stuff. It's not real. They're floating it around. 23andMe's initial response on October 6th was pretty lackluster. They didn't really admit anything, but they actually just recently had an update on October 9th, which kind of leads more credibility that maybe some stuff did get out there. And I'll go over kind of their actual response on what they did. So on this October 6th, this was the official response from 23andMe's on their blog post or whatever. It said that we recently had learned that 23andMe customer profile information that they opted into sharing through the DNA relative feature, again, that ancestry thing that most people are using anyway, was compiled from an individual accounts with users' unauthorized information. So an unauthorized user account was able to log in through that credential stuffing. After learning of suspicious activity, we immediately began an investigation. And while we're continuing to investigate, we believe that they were able to access certain accounts in instances where users recycled login credentials, again, leading to the credential stuffing attack. So it's, again, that is usernames and passwords that were used here, were used in other websites that were previously hacked. Again, it just talks about how they violated our terms of service, blah, 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 all that other stuff. And then the update that they had on the 9th said that they're now continuing the investigation with a third-party forensics experts, and they're working with law enforcement officials. I'm assuming FBI and all that other stuff's getting involved with it. And then they're reaching out to their customers now to provide an update on the investigation. So once a company's finally reaching out to you saying, hey, just so you know, we probably got breached, you might want to change your password, those kind of messages you get, it's probably more real. And so that because they have this update, it leads to the fact that there probably was a lot of data scraped out, whether it's all 300 terabytes, whether it's all these celebrities. Again, that's all just stuff, who knows, but there was actual user data leaked. Out of caution, we are requiring that all customers reset their password. So they're going to force everyone to change their password at the minimum, and they're only encouraging the use of multi-factor. They should force you to change it, and they should, if you're on this service, set it up. So again, if we learn that a customer's data has been accessed without their authorization, we will notify them directly with more information. Please continue to follow this blog for updates. So they'll keep posting updates.
It would have been the perfect time to just enforce
Force it.
the
Right.
the MFA. I mean,
But-
come on, you know?
But again, you got a lot of those people, like I know my grandma liked to do the ancestry stuff,
Yeah,
and a lot of the
wow, they would
users,
be so
it's gonna be
annoyed.
so annoying for all those people. So
Yeah.
I get it. It's a business decision, and it's up to them
Right.
to handle it how they want. But so
A
that's
lot
where
of
they're
people
at.
that don't opt in, you know, for MFA, they probably don't know why or
Right.
how much is at stake. I mean,
No,
Mhm.
they probably don't.
it's just an annoying little
It's an
pop-up
annoying thing
that's,
I have to
hey,
get.
do you want
Now
to do
I-
this?
Yep.
You would take an extra 5 minutes
Yeah,
out of your day?
And
Sure.
yeah, I can see a lot of them going, oh,
They don't
screw
know
it, I
what's-
don't want it anymore.
Yeah, they,
You
they
know,
don't know what's
but-
at stake.
Exactly. So again, I'm security conscious. I'm of the set that I'd rather be inconvenienced and have it take longer just to know that I'm more secure.
Yeah.
That's just the way my mindset is here at DS Tech. We're all like that too. So
Yeah, we're
just,
used to it. So
so I would highly encourage you, not just with like the 23andMe, but with any account you have on the internet, whether it's your email, your Facebook, your any social media, if it's like, you know, Xbox gaming, whatever it is that you're logging into, set up the MFA with whatever service you have.
even
That's
if you think it's trivial,
Even if you think it's annoying and dumb and you don't need to do it,
or
whatever.
I mean, like the account, right?
Mhm.
I mean, like the girl that said to me, "Well, I don't care if they watch movies on my Netflix account." I'm like, no, because
Yeah.
Yeah, but
get-
they might take your password.
But
and
then they're going
log
to take
into
that
your
password and email
mobile
Netflix
banking.
and then try to log into every single site that's attached to that email
Oh.
because there's services on the internet where you can type in someone's email
and the last
it'll
4
tell them-
digits of your
Yeah, and they'll
credit
and it'll
card.
basically put out every single thing that's been used where that email has been used in the past, and so they're going to just start using that password. So obviously, having smart mindset where you're not reusing passwords, you're using a password manager to save your passwords that are unique, crazy, that you're never going to remember without this application. Then the hackers aren't going to take it and reuse it. Things like that can definitely help you in your personal life as well as in your business. So, you know,
we like to use Keeper.
yeah, we use Keeper for our password manager just because it works well from a business standpoint where you can manage a lot of users all together. From an individual user at home too, I've also heard that 1Password is pretty good too. Troy Hunt makes it as
1Password.
well. That's one that I've personally kind of seen or
Keeper
uploading
has a
around.
home version.
And Keeper has a home version too? Okay.
They do.
I'll check that out as well.
I checked it out.
Yeah.
All right.
I encourage
So-
it too, because you and then your family members too, because then
Yeah.
you can also be helping your family who doesn't want to manage all those passwords. You can maybe set up the app with them and show them how to use that. And so now it's just a matter of clicking a few things. They're not actually having to set it up and configure it, which can be a little heavy for some people that aren't technically literate. So taking the time with your young ones and your elderly ones, helping them do that, or non-technical literate, no matter the age, helping them set up proper security
You know, if
is
you
always
set,
good.
if it's on your phone, if you set it up with a fingerprint, I mean, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good one too, because
So,
then it's
And it's easy.
yes. So the
Anyway.
long story short of all of this is just to reminding everyone that make sure that no matter what you're doing in your business, you're always using multi-factor authentication, and you do have that security mindset in place, no matter how trivial the website, whether it's someone's personal WordPress website or you're logging into Amazon, they should all hopefully have some sort of two-factor that you can enable. And if not, be very leery about giving as much information. Try to give them as minimal information as you needed when you're signing up for services, because then that'll prevent the data from leaking when it does get hacked.
Yeah. And watch our past
Absolutely.
episodes. We talk about this a lot.
Mhm.
So,
So, and if you're curious where your business is at, if you use Microsoft 365, it's very easy with like $9 P2 license or whatever, or $7 or whatever it is. You can basically force every one of
$9.
your customers is $9. Okay.
it's 9.
For one license for all of your, whether you have 50 people or 100 people in your organization, you can now force all your users to require MFA every time you get someone signed up automatically. In the old way, you'd have to manage it. If you had staff turnover, you got to make sure the new staff set up with multi-factor that they're using it. But with P2 license, you just set it and forget it, and it's going to force them to be setting it up properly. And from a security mindset, it's huge. So if you're on the Microsoft solution and you work with us as a customer, reach out. We'll make sure that we're doing that properly if you're not sure where you're at, and we'll help you get there.
Awesome. Yeah, so check out our website, dstech.net. Sign up for your free security assessment, and stay in touch. Drop your questions. I'd love to hear them because we could talk about them on the future episodes. Make it a great day.